I do kind of want to follow up on something that you said in terms of the project, because Dan, he brought up how he thinks that Chelsea have a more exciting project, or I guess a brighter future than it looks like what Arsenal have at the moment. You say you disagree. I want to know kind of like, why do you disagree? Because I kind of agree with what Dan is saying, kind of just in terms of the trajectory of both clubs at the moment.
Well, again, it's going to be a subjective conversation. What's exciting to you might be different to what I find exciting. I know, for instance, that you really like the Chelsea project because of the players that they've bought, the money they've spent. You rate, for instance, a lot. You rated their midfield compared to Arsenal's at the time as well. So you kind of see Chelsea in a very different. I probably think you probably see Chelsea similar to a Real Madrid, but on a slightly lower level in the players that you get. Hence why you like them. I think the Arsenal project might be exciting to an Alphonso Davies because of where they've come from. They've literally come from the gutter of 5 years ago.
Chelsea shirts, by the way, too.
Pardon me?
Wearing the Chelsea shirt is where he come from as a kid in a refugee camp.
Yeah, I mean, who hasn't? Who hasn't been wearing a Chelsea shirt? Like you guys.
Not everyone's been a refugee team. What are we saying here?
No. I'm saying who has like every other player that goes to Chelsea. You can say those old pictures. He's wearing a Chelsea shirt. Like there's a lot of people
Chelsea's a team that young players look up to and find exciting to be part of. Especially if they come from American or African heritage. Like they're players that Chelsea have had in the past that have done massive things for those communities and countries.
Hence, who hasn't? That's what I'm saying. Like it's not. Yes, I'm not arguing the point, Dan. You're just arguing something I'm not arguing about. In terms of the attraction, I think maybe obviously we're gonna have a subjective conversation about which projects is more exciting. You never know. Like it depends on the person, what Alphonso's personality is. You're saying, for instance, he's come from Bayern Munich where they've won stuff all the time. He's probably used to that environment and might feel the same way about Real Madrid, where obviously right now Bayern Munich is not having a great time. Sometimes players do want to feel appreciated, and sometimes you want to go to a club that still got some status, but maybe wants to win, hasn't won anything for a little while, which is what Arsenal are. And he's going to get that kind of adulation. I don't know if you saw Conor McGregor, what's his name? Conor Gallagher. When he joined Atletico Madrid, did you see that? Did you see that opening ceremony?
Yeah, they're a poverty club though, so like that's.
You see, hence the Real Madrid attitude.
Nah, I'm just joking.
For Conor Gallagher, it warmed his cotton socks. It might be the same thing for. It might be the same thing for Alphonso.
Conor Gallagher was also crying walking around Stamford Bridge the day.
You know what this reminds me of? Will, sorry, just before you go here, Terry. Remember you did a show with Mo the other day, and Mo was speaking about being one of the boys. I think what Toon's essentially saying is, if Alphonso went to Madrid, he'll just be another one of the boys, as opposed where if he went to our Arsenal, he'll be integral, be one of the main players that probably bring them.
It's very much what Klopp said about what he said to Philip Coutinho before he left. He went, if you go to Barcelona, for you to be, and there is an element of truth to this. This Liverpool team in the last 8 years has won a league title and has won a Champions League and some domestic trophies. But because of how starved Liverpool Football Club were, especially of league titles, so many of these players have become such living legends, where to become a legend at Barca, to become a legend at Real Madrid, even in England, to become a legend at Manchester United is a much harder task than I think becoming a legend. City have just had I know they're legends in the 60s, but the teams that you've seen in the last decade, that's their greatest ever team. Chelsea's was done, that Chelsea's greatest ever team, we all lived through it. Does that make sense? And there's less history. Or not as, or as an example, and it's easier. So I think Chelsea fit into that category as well for some people. But then Chelsea have had 2 Champions League winning teams, and I think there's something that Arsenal. Well, we know Arsenal haven't had that yet. And I think when it comes to the conversation about whose project is more exciting, it's one of those debates that you're never going to get to the end of, because I sometimes think, what is exciting? Because for me, the most exciting project right now in Europe is Man United. That's because I'm personally excited about it, right? So it isn't to everybody else, but it is to me. Do I think Arsenal were going to get him? I don't know. I mean, they're in for him. It's from the Athletic. They're relatively credible. They have a lot of people connected to the club. I mean, the Chelsea conversations I find really interesting. Chelsea ain't interested in them as far as we know. So it's almost a bit of a moot point in many ways because of who you've already got. I'd like... I keep saying Davies because that's how it's spelled, but it's pronounced Davies. Davies. Is that just because how you say it in North America? Is that how you say the?
I think it's Davies. Yes,
in England that name is pronounced Davies. Right. Okay. So what I'm asking is that the way is it just the way North Americans pronounce the word?
I guess so. Yeah.
Like tomato type thing. I'm just trying to make sure it's. Probably, because some people get offended by it, but I'm like, you should hear people try and say my name. They never say it like up there from East London. Do you know what I mean? I've never heard an American go Flewers like that. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't happen. But yeah, I don't know if Arsenal will do it. I think I think wherever he goes, he'll be a very good signing. I think he's a tremendous player. Defensively, yeah, there's some issues there, but that's not what his main attribute is. I'd love him at Man United. I really would.
He fits your system.
He does. He perfectly fits the system. And I feel like, I don't know what we're going to do in the summer and who we're going to bring in, but I was looking at the costs, and because he's a free transfer, yes, there's a signing on fee and salary, but he actually might be cheaper over a 5-year period than, what's the name of the guy at Brentford? Is it Brentford or Bournemouth? Bournemouth. They're
Terrace.
Looking at the fee they want and his wages he's asking for, Alphonso Davies mathematically might work out about £5 to £10 million cheaper over 5 years. And there's a level to that. So I hope we do it. I hope we get it done.
What's Alphonso on wage-wise? I know Bayern don't tend to
about 270,000. So it's not.
Yes, that rules my club out of it.
Wait, really? I didn't know he was on that much.
And let me just go and check again now. I might have got it might be 240 actually. Bayern Munich wages.
Normally they don't offer massive wages.
Yeah,
I bet it's 200 as a minimum though.
Yeah, it might be. Let's go. You guys might be right. I might be. They do offer big wages though. Harry Kane's on. They give you an example. Harry Kane's on 480k a week.
Yeah. He'll be on 200 minimum.
Manuel Neuer's on 400k. Thomas Muller, where is he?
I think Sane's on big money too.
216. So I was wrong. 216.
Yeah.
216. Okay. Who's on 270 that I saw on there? That's Leroy Sané. I got So they have, that's euros as well, by the way. So in terms of pounds,
200.
Yeah, it's about 200,000. So that's just. I mean, people talk about if you pick him up for 250, 260, 270 a week off of a free transfer.
Yeah,
it's decent money. It's a decent amount.
Well, yeah. Well, whenever you sign a player for free, they're always going to get higher wages than what they would have gotten if you paid for him, right? That's why the signing on bonus is a lot more.
Yeah, and they get massive signing on fees, which is why Kylian Mbappe. This is why net spend ain't real, because Kylian Mbappe on net spend comes up as a zero. But he didn't. He cost you about 200 million to sign.
But it's paid. But his bonus is being paid like over 5 years. I think
I'm talking signing on fees to him and his agents.
Okay. No, wait, but it's like the last point that I kind of want to do with the Alphonso Davies and the Arsenal thing is I think he could also like look at it from a POV of like maybe the Arsenal cycle is starting to die down a bit, where they were kind of like at their peak powers. And now there's like a lot of pressure on Arsenal, right? We don't even know if Arteta is going to be in a job like after this season if they don't win something. I feel like that might also play a factor because, it's like how long are those core players that are at Arsenal going to also wait to win a trophy, right? Like you got Saka there, you got Saliba, like Gabriel Magalhaes. They have all these talented young players who haven't won anything yet, and they're going to be getting a lot of interest from big clubs around Europe, and they might not want to wait. So I kind of do think that there's like another side to it where it kind of be like maybe the Arsenal project isn't going or isn't rated as highly just because of how long it's already been.
Will, hear me out on this, yeah? Do you think, and I think statistically and factually on history, there's more chance someone like Ben Chilwell goes Arsenal than Davies goes to Arsenal?
Nah, bro, like that's crazy.
There is. Because look how many Chelsea
That's the only reason why is because Arsenal just like taking Chelsea players that they don't want.
Right? So I think there's more chance Ben Chilwell goes to Arsenal.
That would be crazy, bro.
Than Alphonso Davies.
Will, I got your point about other players maybe wanting to leave. You could counter that at the risk of being called a secret Arsenal fan. You could counter that with, but if you go out there and break the bank and bring in Davies, it gives more incentive for Salibas and co to stay because it demonstrates. The thing I would say with this is I don't think Arsenal's cycle is done just yet. Maybe it will be. They're up there challenging. They've been one of the best teams in the Champions League so far this year. They've had some poor results in the Prem, absolutely. But the only way they fall off is they stop being ambitious and stop signing talent and stop spending money. Ironically, is what happened in the back end of Wenger's time. He would just stop spending the right amount of money. He wouldn't pay the wages and he'd lose his best players. As long as they keep paying high level wages to top players and they keep spending money, like over a course of 4 or 5 years, they keep spending 500. And this is the thing, people go, look how much money your team has spent. Every 5 to 6 years, a top team in the Prem with current rates should be spending anywhere between 450 and 800 million pounds. Depending on who they forget what there might be huge incoming with that as well. But that's how much you should be spending, because the natural attrition of a squad, and the better you get, the more expensive players become. Because you're saying, right, let's just say Saka does a madness and Arsenal win 3 Prems on the bounce in the Champions League and Saka's the star. But then he said, you know what, Arsenal, thank you, but I want to go and play for Madrid. And then they get 200 million for him. You imagine when they go knocking on the door for a 24-year-old at another club, we want him to be the replacement of our star player that won all these trophies who's gone to Madrid. They're going to get stung for the price. So you're always going to, if you win more, even if you sell for loads of money, you have to spend more. So this idea of there's already been all this money spent, we can't keep spending it. Well, you have to. Like, whether it's with that same manager or not, it's irrelevant. You've got to keep fucking spending or you go backwards in football. And it's been that way forever. See, this is what I mean. People don't understand. Terry is funny. I use an exaggerated hypothetical to explain that no matter how well you do, even if it's beyond your wildest dreams, you still have to keep spending money. Honest, this is the people I call toaster people. I wouldn't trust them using a toaster. To not understand what I was doing there is crazy to me.